Hi everybody, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for the World Forum VR for this wonderful opportunity. I'm very honored. So, Emblematic Group, we are a media company that produces virtual, augmented, and mixed reality, and our work spans social impact pieces to branded content. Started in 2007 by Noni de la Peña, coined as godmother of virtual reality, we pioneered walk-around experiences by premiering Hunger at Sundance in 2012. This piece was the first of its kind in narrative VR, and it created the genre of immersive journalism. We use cutting-edge techniques, such as photogrammetry and videogrammetry, to heighten the user's experience, and in connecting the user in a powerful way, our goal is to reinvent storytelling. So here are some of our clients and partners. For decades, journalists have been trying to figure out how to better connect audiences to serious events that happen far away, and to build empathy and understanding. Virtual reality systems are uniquely fitted to deliver first-person experiences of stories that appear in the news, and immersive journalism offers the opportunity of a uniquely different level of understanding, contrasted to reading the printed page or passively watching audiovisual material. So here's the example of a room-scale VR documentary we made that uses 911 distress calls to reconstruct a fatal domestic violence incident in South Carolina in the USA. So this is a very good friend of mine who's trying VR for the first time. And you will see in the first part of the video, she's going to avoid the scene, try to escape because it's so tense. At some point, she's going to try to hide in a corner, and she will try to avoid walking on objects as if they were there, but they're not. And in the second part of the video, she will try to avoid one of the CG characters who tries to get out of the trailer, as if the person was there. And again, the person is not. So one of the most remarkable aspects of immersive environment is that people tend to respond realistically to virtual situations, even though they know that they are not real. Even more surprisingly, this response as if real occurs even though the level of fidelity with respect to everyday physical reality can be severely reduced. Because as you saw in this environment, in this experience, characters and environments look like a game, and yet we tend to react as if all of this was real. And here is my mom on top of a cliff, and 99% of the people who I asked to walk in the abyss said no, me included. A month ago, Emblematic Group presented an art piece at Art Basel, Hong Kong. And basically, we partnered with a Chinese artist called Lin Yilin, who in 1995 created an art piece in his city, Guangzhou, China. He was so fascinated and terrified by the fast urbanization of his city that he took a bunch of bricks and crossed a very busy street of his city by creating a wall and moving brick by brick. So we recreated the experience in VR. And so I remember when I put the goggles on and I tried the experience myself, moving the bricks brick by brick. At some point, there was a huge truck coming right at me, and it was not stopping, was not slowing down. And I had to take out the goggles, and I jumped, almost broke the window behind me because I was so scared of this fake truck. So recently, we made a virtual reality film in partnership with PBS Frontline on the detrimental effects of solitary confinement on prisoners. Kenneth spent 5.5 years in solitary confinement. And in fact, since he was released from prison a few months ago, he says he continues to walk around asking people, do I act normally? Because it was that difficult for him to socialize again with people. So I want to talk about two cutting-edge technologies that we use for this piece. videogrammetry and photogrammetry. Basically, to make it simple, photogrammetry is capturing an environment by going in a space, taking a DSLR camera, and taking hundreds of pictures from different angles. We then take all these pictures, bring them into a software, and we stitch them together. And it creates a photorealistic recreation of the space. So in this case, so this is photogrammetry. This is the real solitary confinement cell in which Kenneth spent 5 years of his life. So it looks huge, but it's a 360 picture. It's actually super small. Videogrammetry, very similar process. But instead of capturing an environment, we capture a character. So we bring the character in green screen, surround him with cameras that take the person in different angles. And then we stitch together all the videos, and it creates a hologram of the person that has depth and volume. We then import the hologram in the virtual reality environment, in this case, the solitary confinement cell. And the person, when he puts the goggles on, is able to walk around in the cell, and Kenneth is here talking to us. So you'll see Kenneth in red, surrounded in green screen, cameras all around, Nani producing and directing, and all the different angles of cameras. And this is only a few of them.
Backtrack a little further and actually see him tying the last thread onto the.
Do you want to pull another thread off? You want to pull more thread off and tie it on, and then
Or we could even rip this.
I said anywhere, but if that's where you want to go, all right.
Well, that's where this suit's going.
yeah, that's where he's going. He's going into the cell that he's actually been in before.
Right. So,
Come
we'll
on
step in.
And this is the result. Photogrammetry plus videogrammetry. And I'm going to give you a trailer of the piece so that you have a better idea.
The solitary confinement and the sensory deprivation, years of it drove a relatively sane young man insane. And I started hearing voices. I started having little imaginary friends that in my brain that I would make up. So I would take blood and I would cover my cell and I would write messages all over my cell, help me, lyrics to songs that I knew all over the wall. I ripped out all the hair on the right side of my body. When I mean all the hair, I mean completely all the hair on the right side of my body.
So before joining Emblematic Group, I produced a traditional short film about solitary confinement, a short film in 2D. We did months of research to be accurate in our story. And our film was successful enough that we were invited to the White House to present it. So having been on both of these productions, for these two projects, one in 2D, one in virtual reality, I can attest and testify about the powerful impact that virtual reality has over a traditional film. So I found myself walking into this solitary confinement cell. Despite all the research that I made to make my narrative short film, I still didn't have a clear idea of what solitary confinement was. But when I put the goggles on, it took me a few seconds to understand, and I just got it. So no traditional film, no talk, no article could make me feel the abyss of solitary confinement the way that I felt in this virtual reality experience. And this, to me, is the potency of VR, to put you in a story that you can feel and remember with your entire body. So here are other projects that we are creating which have similar effects on people. So we did a 360 video documentary about the war in Sudan in the Nuba Mountains. The piece was on the cover of the New York Times for 2 weeks. And when you hide, so when you look at the piece, at some point you hide in a foxhole, and you see these mothers and their kids listening to the planes dropping bombs. You feel it, you feel the proximity. You hear the plane, you see the ground shake, the dust move, and it's such a more visceral understanding of the experience than a traditional film would do. We also partnered with PBS Frontline, NOVA, and scientists from NASA to make a piece about climate change, oceans melting Greenland, or as we like to call it, oh my God. So you're dropped on the glaciers in Greenland, and you see the rivers of ice melting ineluctably, and you understand why it's so important to talk about it. We also partnered with Dow Jones to create one of the launch apps for the Google Daydream. So we put you inside a 3D live visualization of the US stock market. What if I told you that VR can portray data in a way that financial analysts won't need 8 screens to make their decision? So through all these projects, we continue to push the boundaries of communication, taking it one step further and expanding the concept of what VR is used for. We are building a stronger collective understanding that will only continue to grow as the technology evolves. Whether it is doc, science, immersive journalism, data visualization, VR strikes us with moments of realization that we don't see coming, to take us on a new storytelling journey. And this is only the beginning. So thank you so much. Send me an email if you have any questions. Come check the piece on the 3rd level. Thank you, thank you.